Hello and welcome back to my channel, More in Midlife. I am Megan and I am here to help guide you, mentor you, coach you throughout this phase of your life, 40s, 50s, etc. and beyond. Okay, as promised, I always have to have my notes because I'm afraid I'll go off the rails a little bit. So I promised you this week I would talk about work from home. Now, work from home isn't like a new, by any stretch of the imagination, anything new, right? It's been around for a while. I don't know how long, but I do know that it kind of like surged throughout the pandemic. And, as many of us were forced to work from home, basically, if your job could do that. So I'm just going to kind of break down for you what I see to be the pros and cons of working from home, what I see most women who I coach want, ideally, and how to know what's best for you. And also stick around to the end because I am going to make a recommendation of a book. Now, I think I'm going to start adding this into the end of my videos where I recommend either a book or something that just in general is helping my life. It could be an app that I've found or just something I use around the house. But basically, a lot of the vloggers I watch that are probably young, they're like in their 30s, they a lot of times will do like, let's try this new fast food thing at Taco Bell or whatever. I don't eat a lot of fast food, and I don't think that's a healthy endeavor in my age to go to fast food restaurants to show you what their latest thing is. So I was like, what can I do that is actually helpful to who I'm talking to? And I thought, I always recommend books to clients, and in my newsletters, I usually have book recommendations. I read, I'm usually reading one or two books at a time. So most of the book recommendations will be personal development type books, but I am bringing more fiction into my world again as I'm trying to write my own book. Okay, so that's just a little side note. Okay, so I will start off by saying that the majority of women that come to me want to work from home. They either, like me, got a little taste of it, or they're just sick of like the office atmosphere and they just want to be at home. When I got to work from home during the pandemic, I couldn't get enough of it and I wanted more. And I was very sad when we had to go back into the office. I got denied to continue sort of like a hybrid situation. That's in another video. I think it's the one about where I left nursing to become a coach. And so if you want to hear more about that story, that's in there. But bottom line is, I knew I wanted more of it. And I'm going to try in this video, I am self-employed at the time. And so at this time, so I going to try to give it in a light of more like when I have either done contract work or when I was employed doing work from home. And not so much the self-employed, because that's even a whole different thing, because there's even more flexibility when it comes to, self-employment and your schedule, etc. And I will say what comes in second place to wanting to work from home is like a hybrid situation, which I get. And we'll kind of go into that in a little more detail. And then I will also say that I think as much as like there were so many people working from home for so long, and now it's like there's a shift towards bringing people back to the office. I don't think work from home is going to go away because it makes a lot of sense for a lot of business models. But also, I will say, I think there are employers that understand the importance of it and how it actually makes people happier with their overall job satisfaction. I will give my daughters, for example, because they're Gen Z, they're in their 20s, and they're just starting out in their professional careers and, like after college. So both of them, so my oldest one mainly works in an office, but her job does let her, she has to go out of the office to do a lot of different things, which she loves, getting out of the office, driving, going to appointments. But it also gives the flexibility where she could choose to work like a day a week from home if she wanted to. Typically, she doesn't do it every week, but she could if she wanted to. And then my younger daughter, the way hers is set up is she's required to be in the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then has the flexibility Thursday, Friday to work from home. She could go into the office if she wants to, but she really, really enjoys that Thursday and Friday working from home. So those are just a couple of examples of how it is a reality for people, and how it can work in that hybrid kind of situation. Today, since we're talking about working, I figured I would film it in my office. So right behind me is my desk. It is a desk that can go up and down so I can stand sometimes, so I'm not sitting so much on my butt. And at the end of the video, I'll try to give you a little like 360 of what it looks like. I know, exciting, right? Oh, and FYI, this used to be my oldest daughter's room, and I turned it into this office after she moved out. But okay, I'm gonna need my list because I kind of jotted down. I was brainstorming like my pros and cons. So I'm not gonna do like a list 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't really rank them. But I will say, I think this is one of my favorite parts is a slower morning. Because you take away that drive time, that commute time, it lends itself to you doing more of a slow morning. Like if you want to just sip your coffee and read or journal, walk your dog, like there's less rush to it because you're not worried about the weather or the traffic or whatever it is. You literally have to just, maybe log into your computer at a certain time, and that's how everybody knows that you are available and working. Okay, so another one is the ability to do stuff around the house. Not like you want to be doing chores 24/7, but I know when I was a nurse and I was just working out of the house all the time and in one building, and the last thing I wanted to do in the evening when I came home was laundry. So a lot of times, usually laundry got shifted all to the weekend. And then it like brought this dread on me of that, that chore that I had to do like either on Saturday or Sunday. Usually started on Saturday and Sunday night folding and putting away stuff. And it was just really put me in a bad mood. So the ability to just go throw a load in, if you need some laundry or you're short on towels or something, that you can go do that or start the dishwasher or whatever, things that don't take long. So it's not like you're going away for a long time. You're just literally, just like in an office, if you went to go talk to a friend, you're just walking out to wherever your laundry room is and putting a load in. My dog, I love my dog. You've probably seen her in some of my videos if you watched any other ones. And she is, I love being here with her. It makes her life happier too, I know. And so, if I want to take a break or need to like stretch my legs or whatever, I'll go walk her, or we'll go in the yard and I'll throw the ball with her, or just sit outside with her, and she gets to play and be happy, and I get sunshine and I get to play with her, and it makes me happy. So having my dog, there are some offices I know that do let you bring your dog to work. But I think there's a lot of, it depends on your dog and if they can handle that kind of environment. Okay. I don't know if you've thought of this one, but for me, not having to wear shoes is huge. I've always been a barefoot kind of girl. And I love just being able to not have shoes on, or if it's cold, I'll have slippers on or socks or something. But yeah, I don't know. That's a big perk for me. Another great thing, this all has to do with like commute time or whatever, but also like when you're finished with your work, you're done, you're home. There's no drive, there's no traffic to fight, there's no weather to get through, there's no road rage, there's no aggravation or added stress. I definitely feel that overall more relaxed in that way. You're just finished and you're home. You can already go change your clothes if you need to, and relax. Do whatever it is that you do to unwind after your workday. You're done. You're home. Something that goes in hand with that is you're spending less money on gas, on car stuff that comes up with having to drive a lot. Depends. Like my last job out of the house, it was like a 10 to 15 minute drive. It wasn't far. The majority of my nursing career was about, I'd say, a 20-minute drive, but could be 30 with bad traffic. So, that's an hour out of your day and less time to do the things you want to do. Anyway, I think another huge perk is lunchtime. Like I don't have to like pack a lunch at night, because most of the time I brought my lunch wherever I worked. So being able to go to the kitchen and sometimes cook lunch, like have a hot meal, especially when it's winter time, I love that. But being able to just put together stuff, I feel like I'm eating healthier. There's less chance of me maybe ordering or something, when you're in an office where people are like, hey, we're ordering from blah, blah, blah. Do you want anything? And you say, oh yeah, that sounds way better than my salad I brought from home. Then that's what happens. I think it's definitely a pro to be able to eat at home, definitely save money and eat healthier. And then also what I like at my break time, when I eat lunch, I sit and watch TV. Or sometimes I go outside if it's a really nice day, but I'll just watch a show that I'm watching. I couldn't do that in the hospital or the office. A lot of the places I worked, we didn't have a TV in the break room. There was one place we did, and what was on the TV really depended on if there was somebody there ahead of you. Now, if you got there and there was nobody in there, you could change it to whatever you wanted. But that didn't mean somebody else wasn't going to walk in and just walk up to the TV and change it. Yeah, just like other people eat your food that you have in the fridge. That's real. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay. So, and I think one of the huge pros of working from home, and a lot of bosses don't understand this, especially the ones that want you to come back into the office, that you can usually accomplish more in less time. So, when my work that I would have done in office in like 7 or 8 hours, I finished at home in like 4 hours. And I had the numbers, the metrics to prove that. And it just didn't matter, because in the office, what you wind up doing, right? You get bored, or you just like need a stretch. So you go walk around, you go talk to your friend at work, or you go snack on something. You tend to find ways to waste some of your time if you have the time to waste. Or like my work, sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to spread this out throughout the day, or I'm going to be just sitting here all afternoon not doing anything, or not doing much at least, because the nature of the type of work it was. Sometimes the volume, I had more clients, more of a caseload when I was a case manager than other times. So yeah, I think you waste more time in an office. You're at home, you just sit down, focus, get it done, and when your work's done, it's done. So I don't know. And I know people, businesses still track to make sure you're logged in at the right times. Obviously you would be available at any time, but you can do a lot of your work quicker, less interruptions, less distractions. Or some might say there are distractions at home. I guess it depends on how you handle those distractions, but I think there is less, I don't know, I just think there's less overall, in my opinion. And I think that employers should look at that as a good thing. When I did contract work, there was no clock. I just had to make sure that I was there for my clients to coach them. And that was even more flexible, because it wasn't like, oh, you have to be doing your work between certain times. Nobody really needed to get a hold of you. You might have a client message you or a manager, but it was very low key as far as that went. And I had control over when I scheduled those clients. I had full control over my schedule. So that was beautiful. Not a bad situation to be in. Okay. All right. Here are my cons, the negatives, you could say. I think sometimes it's obviously if you're working from home, usually majority of your work is going to be done sitting at a computer doing stuff online. Not everybody likes that. You know, you might want to be out and about doing things and not just on your butt in front of the computer. That's also why I have a standing desk because, yeah, I don't want to sit all day. I haven't gotten one of the walking pads yet, but I think that is next. I've looked at it in the past and just kind of like forget about it, but I think I would really like that. Not when I'm like working with a client, but like just when I'm like typing, working on the website, just different things like that. I think it would be really great. Okay. I think one of the biggest reasons that I hear women say they don't want to just work from home or they'd rather a hybrid type of situation is for the social interaction. The distractions I was talking about where you might get up and go talk to your friend. Yeah, when you work in an office environment, usually you make some kind of connection with at least one person for survival purposes, if any, you know, hopefully you actually have a real connection. But I always made friends at work. So I can see how for people who really thrive on that they need that in their lives. I have had few people say, I only want to work in an office. Most people, especially if they've had it for a little bit of time to work from home, they still want that ability. They want that flexible situation, like I talked about with my daughters, where they can do both, and that it is accepted. I think there's a big problem too when companies will say you can do it, but then there's like a stigma attached to it if you do choose to work from home certain days. Companies who offer it really need to be like on board with it, okay with it, and try to nip in the bud anybody that's trying to like be a bully at work and make people feel bad for choosing to work from home. So anyway, sidetrack. But yeah, I think that is a big part of why people want to work with other people sometimes. And it is definitely one of those things where sometimes if I'm having a day where I'm like kind of like bored or lonely, I'm like, maybe I should do something where I need to go into a place once a week and just interact more with people. But then I quickly change my mind and I'm like, I don't think I can give this up. I really don't. But it could be in my situation, if I continue with my business and I stay self-employed, that I could seek something where I'm like, one day a week, I go volunteer someplace or I go work someplace like in a store or something that just needs a little extra help, or a friend that needs help at work. I don't know. There are always things that pop up and you get to make that choice of what's right for you. I think one of the cons is sitting more. Like I said, you're going to be sitting probably majority of the time in front of a computer. So yeah, sitting, that's why I got the standing desk, and I think I'm going to get a walking pad, and why it's important to remember to get up and walk around. I do have an Oura ring, and you know, Apple Watches do the same thing. I have one, but I don't wear it a lot. I like my Oura ring better, where it alerts you, you know, like, hey, is it time to stretch your legs? And sometimes I'm like, stop. No, if I'm relaxing, but it is good to remind you. And I usually do get up and like just walk around, go fill up my water, walk outside. And I think another one could be like, you know, I know when I commuted to work, that would be a time where I would either like listen to podcasts or you could listen to a book, or maybe I used to like calling people, especially in the evening time. Like if I needed to call a family or member or friend back, that was a good time to do it, right? Because you're in the car anyway. That's something I can still do that when I get home I won't have to do, and I can just take it easy. So yeah, that's what I came up with for pros and cons. I'm curious to know what you think the pros and cons are. So definitely leave a comment below and let me know pros and cons, what you do. Do you work from home? Are you hybrid? Are you self-employed? Like, what do you do? Why do you like or not like it? And then I think, like I said, personally, I don't think I would never choose to fully go back into an office full time. I would prefer a hybrid situation, but I also like what I have right now. But I could see how hybrid could be a nice situation too. And then what else? But I think it's really a personal choice. I mean, yes, sometimes it is just like you need a job and that's what's available and you do what the job requires. But then, when you can be a little more choosy, when you're looking, I recommend looking for what you actually want. Look for the hybrid job, look for the remote work, and stick to that if that's really what you want. If you have the ability to stay where you're at until you find exactly what you want, then do that. Keep looking for the thing you really want. It is out there. You will find it. By knowing yourself and what you need, what fills you up, what feels good, is going to help you decide which one you want to do. I think most people have a good answer. If you ask them, which would you want? They know. You know what you want. Unless maybe you haven't experienced the work from home yet, then you might not know what you're missing out on. Okay. So like I said, I was going to introduce something, a book. I'm going to introduce a book to you. So when I was trying to figure out which book to recommend, I was like, okay, I have a lot. So I thought, okay, the first book I recommend to a client that comes to me who's just in this stage, I can tell, where they're ready to make changes. They're ready to do different things. They're ready to think differently. And they just know there's something more out there for them, but they can't put their words on it, and they can't always figure out how to do the things they're trying to do. The number one book I recommend is called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. She has a series of badass books. This is the first one she wrote, and it is the book I read, I think it was before the pandemic. It was like 2019. And it really is what motivated me and had me look at things in a different light that I hadn't before. And I read it every year. So I've read it a lot. So yeah, highly recommend this. I'll leave a link in the show notes. It is an affiliate link, just FYI. Highly recommend this. And if you read it, let me know. Or if you read it and you find it helpful, let me know. I think that is all I have for you today. Come back next week. Thank you for watching or listening on the podcast, if that's how you're hearing this. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this brief 360-degree view of my office. Okay, here's a good overall shot. So I put up the bulletin book. So I put up the wallpaper after my daughter moved out. Took me a little while to figure out what wallpaper I wanted, but I love it. It is put it up by yourself kind of situation, peel and stick. Not as easy as they make it seem to be. This wall, still need to buy some art or shelves to put some fun stuff up there. Closet, bookshelf with some of my books, my kitty cat in the window, and a desk, a little plant, picture of my puppy dog that died a while back that is gonna go on that spot right here. I have my vision board. But I have a nice little sitting area. Sometimes I journal and meditate in here. And yeah, that is my office. You can see it's right out off of my living room. There's just a little entryway here. And yeah, I love it. Not too shabby. Nice space for different things, right? Hope that didn't make you dizzy. Bye.